Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning. Hope you're having a great start to your day. And I can't wait to see folks here this morning joining us. Okay, here we go. And nice to say hello to Jen. Kate Breton, good morning. Rosalinda, how are you? And Nativity, how you doing? Kevin, Oshawa, good morning. Nice to have you on. Rosa, bonjour. John from Elgin, Illinois. Annette, New Brunswick. And Madeleine, good morning. Georgie, Halifax, Nova Scotia. Mary, how is you? And Brenda. And Nick, good morning. Nice to have you on from our staff. Chilliwack, BC, Sandy, good morning. Micheline and Thea and Deb from Timmins, good morning. Donna, Park Hill, Ziane, bonjour, and Jean. Jeanette from our staff, good morning. Yolande, good morning. Wanda from Virginia. Debbie Sturgeon. And Catherine, Parksville, British Columbia. Rose from Brampton. Micheline says she loves my tan. Mara, good morning. Larry, Luella of West Tennessee. Linda, are you the real Linda? Linda from New Brunswick. Nellie, good morning. Tracy, how are you? Serpa from Dowling, good morning. Fran from Orangeville. Sue, St. Petersburg, Florida. Beautiful. Barbara. Oh, I could sing, Barbara. Katharina, sorry, Leamington. Rita. Good morning. Cindy, Rachel, and Jerry. Good morning. Dave from Muskoka. Milika, Stouffville. Let's do a couple more. Kim from Dowling. Wow, Dowling is well represented this morning. Bruno, good morning. Angelica from Wisconsin. Maggie, Etta, Juanita, Annette, good morning. And Linda, another Linda. Yes, no, Linda saying she's the real Linda. Ashley, Tammy, Kadajitat. Oh, I mess up. Kadajitat. Look. I don't know, somehow it twists my tongue. Sue, good morning. Sandra, good morning, good morning, good morning. Molly, first time, Molly? Or is it just because I haven't seen your name before? Vera from Newfoundland. Chantal, Ottawa. Mary Jane from Connecticut. And Frances Marie, good morning. Here we go. Now, guys, I just want to talk because we had technical difficulties. I just want to go back. And then we're going to talk some, I don't know, philosophy this morning. Okay? Because I want to read you a headline. But let me just do a 2-minute review of yesterday because we had such technical difficulties yesterday. And I don't know if it was all on my end. I think it was because my Wi-Fi went down temporarily. Plus, we had construction in the background still going on. That's why I switched spots, trying to make it a little bit more quiet, okay? The Japanese study, just got to mention it again, okay? So if you were on yesterday, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, other than it had to do with allergies, asthma. We talked yesterday about the origin of when you look at allergies, it's autoimmune. The body overreacting to something that it shouldn't overreact to. Really, that is the definition of autoimmune. The body turns on itself. It overreacts, okay? what this Japanese study said was when these Japanese students who had allergies, sinus problems, asthma, they were using inhalers and things like that, when they changed their diet, it was dramatic. When they got away from eating fast foods, I didn't know Japanese ate fast foods. I guess they do. You know, isn't America and Canada beautiful? We export our bad health. I used to call it exporting McDonald's. Okay? Now, I don't mean to pick on McDonald's, okay? Because they're not the only ones. But when people anywhere in the world, and this has been proven, by the way, when people anywhere in the world eat like we do, they all of a sudden, they're in deep doo-doo. Okay? They're in deep doo-doo. And I've said this to you in the past. Eskimos, okay, or the Inuit, they don't know what heart disease is. They really don't. It's unheard of, and yet they're people that live on fat. Protein and fat, but mostly fat. They don't know what heart disease is until they live differently and their diets change. And I always tell that to people. Don't eat our diet. Now, Canada, the United States, North America has brought the world some very good things, okay? So I'm not all negative. I'm just telling you, when we export or people import our way of eating, it's very, very bad, including Japan. And what this study determined is when they got away from eating in fast foods mostly and soda, sugar, you know what happened? They got better. Plus, here's what they were eating. Eggs, meat and fish, when they got back to that, and dairy. Okay? When they got back to having dairy instead of soda, their allergies got better. Their asthma got better. Okay? And yesterday I explained it's because leaky gut gets better. Okay? So that was yesterday, and I just wanted to do a little recap. Now, I want to read to you a headline, and we're going to do a little bit of philosophy this morning. Okay? We're going to do a little bit of philosophy. And you guys get it because you've been following me. But here's the headline that we'll talk about just for the rest of this program. Okay, now, here it is. The USA alone last year, in 2021, spent, listen to this, $4.1 trillion on healthcare. $4.1 trillion. Now, when I was a kid, okay, a long time ago, when you talked about a millionaire, okay, that guy is a millionaire. I mean, it was like we couldn't even wrap our heads around a million, okay? $1 million. Holy moly. Like, you know, and of course, when I got older, we talked about billionaires, okay? Billionaires. And when you think of the difference between $1 million and $1 billion, that's incredible. to actually become a billionaire? Well, we've seen it happen. People have become billionaires. Millionaires weren't enough. They got billions. And then now we don't have anyone, I think, on the planet, maybe Elon Musk. I don't think he has $1 trillion yet. Or does he? I don't know. All I'm saying is, you know what the difference is between $1 billion and $1 trillion? It's incredible. It's a gulf. Like, you can hardly wrap your head around it. But when the headline says, look, last year alone in the United States, it cost $4.1 trillion in healthcare costs last year. Guys, here is what I have to say about that. All the tea in China isn't going to fix the disaster that we have. The bang for the buck. Man, we're not getting... Look, out of Tufts University, brand new. I actually write about this in my book. Now, what did we always talk about? 88% of the population in North America, whether you live in Canada or whether you live in the United States, 88% of the population are on the Titanic. Because metabolically, they are unwell. Effectively, metabolic syndrome, okay, 88%. It's now worse. All the money we're spending on it in 2016, the statistics were horrendous. 88% of the population either had diabetes, high blood pressure, higher than normal blood sugar, high triglycerides, and low HDL. That, my friend, is metabolic syndrome. Okay? Diabetes, overweight, or belly fat. Okay? High blood pressure, higher than normal blood sugar, which is always the last thing to happen, by the way, okay? We'll leave that aside for a minute. High triglycerides, which we talk about all the time, and low HDL, low cholesterol. Low cholesterol, not high cholesterol, low cholesterol, high triglycerides. Not the same. That's metabolic syndrome. Now, anybody that's on any medication for any of those, high blood pressure, blood sugar, whatever, of course, your blood pressure might be controlled, but you're on medication. What the new Tufts, T-U-F-T-S, Tufts University headline. You know what 88% is now? It's 93% of the population have some form of metabolic syndrome. And they actually called it, let me just get it here. They called it 5 components of heart and metabolic health. This was published in July in the American College of Cardiology The American College of Cardiology. This study was published. Did it hit the headlines? Nope. And from the Friedman School of Nutrition Science. Study looking at all the studies. Okay? Think about that. Think about that, my friend, the ramifications of it. And here we are today, okay, so the USA alone, $4.1 trillion was spent in 2021. And 2022 is coming to an end, and I betcha, we're going to spend more than that. And Canada, you know, the United States is just 10 times bigger than Canada. Whatever happens in the States happens in Canada when it comes to health. I can tell you, I've been around long enough. We're no better off. We're no better off. The problem is, guys, it's philosophy. It's health philosophy. It really is. Because medicine is into treating disease. Prevention, you know, they know nothing about nutrition. Nothing. They don't see, you got to understand a doctor. You know, moderation is their motto. Okay? You almost got to grab them by the throat to even talk about food. But when they do, they say, well, everything in moderation. Because they don't see the problem as a food problem. Okay? That is down the list. We saw it in the last couple of years, guys, how when public health takes over, you would think public health thinks about everything. They really don't. Their modus operandi is viruses. They don't want any viruses. They'll do everything they can. They'll spend any amount of money. They'll do anything they can. No more viruses. We gotta get rid of viruses. Well, good luck with that. If it isn't one, it's going to be another. I can tell you that. They don't talk about the immune system. They don't talk about your body. They don't talk about you as an individual. And when they do, it's, mask up, take our shot, do with this and do that. And God love them. That's their training. That's their training. That's what they see. And that's the way they operate. And when it comes to overall health care, it's disease care. Other than, and I give them credit for this, other than, and this will come out of public health, stop smoking. Okay, we got the memo. Stop smoking, which is good. I agree with that 1,000,000%. What doctor in the universe would tell you to smoke? Of course they used to, but, for the last, 40 years, smoking is bad. We all agree with that. And they put ugly cancer on a cigarette pack. I got no problem with that. They should put it on a can of Coke too. But they won't do it. They won't do it. And so, guys, my philosophy is prevention. Okay? Now, let me give you a little, because people ask me about this all the time. Doc, I want to live till I'm 110. Doc, I want to beat the odds. I said, you're aiming at the wrong thing. Okay? You're aiming at longevity. Okay? Don't aim at longevity. Don't aim at quantity. Aim at quality. There's a big difference there. Aim for quality. Okay? Because have you ever made bad investments in your life? Okay. I have. I made some bad investments. Okay? And I made some good investments. Okay? I've made some bad and I've made some good. But my good investments, meaning that down the road, they pay dividends. I'm going to tell you something, my friend. When you take care of your personal health, when you take care of your immune system, when you take care of yourself in terms of health, every time you eat, this really helps when you can train your body to remember this. Everyone else's responsibility is their responsibility. Okay? But for you and for me, every time you eat, you look at, is this an investment? Am I making an investment, a good investment, into the quality of my life? Short term, long term. Okay? Because I'm not into quantity as much as I'm into quality. And look, anti-aging, for example, there's a whole section in medicine. Usually people that are into plastic surgery and things like that. And look, I get it. They want to, people talking about we should be living till we're 130 years old. Well, I'm not so concerned about that. I want quality. I'm almost 71. I want to, okay? I don't know if I'm going to make 72. I don't know that. You don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, okay? All I want to do, as much as it depends on me, is to be healthy for as long as I can. I want to be healthy, and I know from experience, I personally, that when it comes to metabolic syndrome, it's food. It's food, my friend. It's food, my friend. Now, I love exercise. You guys know that. That's a vitamin E. I love the sun, vitamin D, Viderma. They're big factors. But what I talk about more than anything else is what you put in your mouth every day. And I try and get people to understand that metabolic syndrome, what we talked about, sure affects the cardio. It affects your brain. It affects your heart. Facts. When you eat poorly, you, with so little exception, look what's happened in the United States and Canada. My friend, it is so earth-shattering that 93%, with all the advances, all the technology we have, my word, I can hardly operate a smartphone. I mean, the technology. But guys, we're looking for love in all the wrong places. What do I always say? I've been saying this for 40, 50 years. We are on the Titanic. Don't worry about rearranging the deck chairs. Change course. Get off the broad road that leads to destruction. Get off of it. Get on the narrow road where there's very few people, by the way, that do it. Medicine, understand it. They do wonderful things. They're into disease. They're good at surgery. They're good at giving you medications. And sometimes you need surgery and medications when you get hit by a bus. Okay? And good medicine is when they stick to that. I mean, you need doctors. Come on. But understand this, they're not trained. They're not. If they see that your blood sugar is up, they want to put you on medication. They don't talk to you about food. If they do, they send you off to a dietitian. Yeah, go talk to them. Just make sure, I want you to monitor your blood sugar every 5 seconds. And I'm going to medicate you to help control your blood sugar. Instead of looking at the elephant in the room, when anyone has elevated blood sugar, my friend, it's food. When you have elevated blood pressure, it's not salt. Because if it was salt, we'd have won the war by now on high blood pressure. But it was salt. Oh, salt, salt. Nah, it's not salt. It's sugar. That's why we are in such terrible shape today. Let's do the Elon Musk together. Okay? What do I mean by that? Let's pretend you and I left the planet in 1970. Okay? Now, I know Elon Musk wasn't around. But let's say we did. Together. We went and lived on Mars. Okay? We took a spaceship. You and me and the rest of us. And then, in 2022, we come back to the planet. And we're observing. What do we see? Wow. The world has changed. Look at the size of people. You wouldn't have to be a rocket scientist to understand that the world has changed. How in the heck can more than 50% today of the population is already diabetic. Already. And remember what diabetes is, guys. Just a teaching. Never forget it. Diabetes is the last thing that happens. It's a lagging indicator. It doesn't happen first. It happens last. Because your body would rather you be living with a fatty liver before it allows you to be a diabetic. Okay? So we understand there's a food storage problem. It's storage. It's compartments. It's storing problems. So what happens? Your body is so smart. It knows more than the stinking, I hate to get a migraine. Your body knows more than the entire world. Your body is so smart. It understands how toxic sugar is. Empty your blood, my friend. You got 4 or 5 liters of blood. Empty it on any day. Less than an hour after you eat. Even if you had 20 donuts. Okay, don't have 20 donuts, please. But let's say you did. Your body is so smart. It knows those donuts are going to turn to sugar in nanoseconds. It will, you know what insulin is? It's the traffic cop that said, you get the heck out of that parking. You can't park in the bloodstream. You can't. It's against the law of your body. It's against the law. You can't park there. You must, I'm going to park you somewhere else. And its favorite spot is in the liver. So your body would rather have fatty liver than you become a diabetic. And when there's no more room in the liver to store sugar that turns to fat, your body will make more fat. For some people. Some people are skinny as rakes and terribly unwell. Okay, don't envy somebody that's skinny, okay? I tell people that. Skinny, what does that mean? Okay? That don't mean they're healthy. I want to see their blood pressure. I want to see their triglycerides. I want to see their cholesterol levels. I'm not looking for low cholesterol. I'm looking for high cholesterol. You give me those numbers, and you know, your body just doesn't have the ability to store fat. You'll store it all right, but you'll store it around your organs, and you might never even see it. That's why I always ask you guys, to send me your blood work. I'm interested in it, because that's prevention. Okay? So guys, all I'm saying is this. Imagine where we're at in our world today. We're on the Titanic, and we're playing music. I love the story of the Titanic. You guys know that, obviously, right? I do. I love it. I'm always amazed at the story of the Titanic. How they were warned. And they said, no, we're unsinkable. Isn't that like the world is today? We're unsinkable. Eat in moderation, do whatever you feel like, and you'll be all right. You'll be all right. They don't see the icebergs. And if they do, they think, it's not going to happen to me, man. You can't sink me. I'm thinking positive. Hey, guys, I love positive thinking too. But so what if you don't implement changes? You can have all the positive thinking in the world. You don't think there wasn't, all the rich people were on the Titanic. The who's who of the world at the time, they were on that maiden voyage. They were duped. Okay. Guys, it is unreal where we're at today. Unreal. And you can imagine for me, when I see studies like this and I say, man, you're going to hardly hear about this, it really, really upsets me. But then I think of you guys. I do. I think of you guys. And I think of how smart you guys are. And I think of how you guys have implemented changes in your life. And I get excited. I'm encouraged. That's my goal. That's my goal. And so instead of, walking around like discouraged, I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged. Okay. Fun, huh? Okay, guys. Have I told you lately that I love you? No, I haven't. And by the way, there apparently, okay, I saw a little blurb about it, that someone's trying to imitate me on Facebook. Okay, be careful about that, okay? Like, we got thousands of people in our private Facebook group. And, sometimes I guess people kind of figure they can copy me or imitate. Well, you guys can imitate me. But I'm just getting you the heads up that I guess there's a few false Dr. Martins around. You know what my Twitter thing is? The real Dr. Martin. That's my hashtag. Okay, guys. We love you. We'll talk to you soon.